An absolute is a phrase that describes something in a sentence, like many other grammatical constructs. An absolute is not a complete sentence, but it can become one just by adding the words was or were. For example, well, first off, visit an absolute, they're nice. Actually, one of the major differences between professional and amateur writers. Now, for example, in this sentence, a real-life example from class, that is the absolute. It describes something in the sentence about what Dr. Patterson is doing, and it can be made into a complete sentence by adding was or were. You see here, you can say his eyes were carefully searching his nose and make it into a complete sentence. Now, absolutes often begin with possessive pronouns, such as his, her, or its. And the position of absolute phrases is also very flexible. Exempli gratia, Latin for the purpose of example. They can come at the beginning, like in this sentence, his hands raw. You can change that to his hands were raw. They can come at the end of a sentence, like here, the boy watched, his eyes bulging in the dark, his eyes were bulging in the dark. You can put them between the subject and the verb. The man, his head held high, strutted into the room, his head was held high. See? Absolutes are useful for combining several pieces of information into one coherent sentence that sounds well written. For example, here there were a lot of different chunks providing information about the situation of some soldiers. You combine it all into one sentence about soldiers. Do you see here these 7 pieces of information? Come that. Notice that only the last part is an absolute, because only it can become a complete sentence if you add was or were. Absolutes are fun and applicable, and you can even apply them to popular movies like The Dark Knight Rises. His mask no longer dispensing anesthetic, Bane lashed out in fury. You can change that to his mask was no longer dispensing anesthetic. And here is a master drawing of Bane. There's his mask, and there. So notice here it comes at the beginning of a sentence. And thank you for watching our presentation on absolutes. We hope you learned everything you will ever need to know about them.